Foundry, where leaders are forged daily. Each week we investigate themes of leadership, entrepreneurship, and mindset with some of the greatest minds in real estate. And now, the data scientist of real estate, George Roberts.
Welcome back, entrepreneurs. Today we have Lee Yoder back in the studio, virtual studio. As you remember from the first episode, Lee Yoder is a very fascinating investor. Not going to go through the big, long biography again, but just to give you some ideas. I mean, he's investing for many years. We talked about his multiple exits on the last show, and we talked a lot about the Dayton market timing. We talked about underwriting and some of the things that you really need to do to make sure that you're investing with a solid margin of safety. That's one of the great themes on this show. Lee was a practicing physical therapy when he realized his true passion was building his own business and investing in real estate. And again, one of the, I think, great stories of real estate, somebody that I'm very, very happy to bring back. And so again, make sure you listen to that first episode. But with that, we'll bring Lee onto the show. Welcome to the show, Lee. How are you doing today?
Doing great, George. Thanks again for having me.
All right. It's a great pleasure. All right. So Lee, I think we're going to start by talking about seller financing. I know another thing that you've been doing, I think, particularly recently, is seller financing. One of the myths I find in this business is, oh, you can't do seller financing. And I feel like it was particularly strong before the pandemic because it was such a seller's market.
Yeah.
And these brokers would want to make you feel like it's a taboo to even ask. But it's something that becomes a lot less taboo after you close your first property. You have a lot more credibility. And then again, we've gone from a very strong seller's market to now something that looks a little bit more like a buyer's market. Many markets are still seeing some declines in multifamily in the middle of 2024. A little controversy, have we bottomed out, or will we see some further declines in the future? Hard to say. But regardless, long preamble, my question really for you is with seller financing. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, this is something I've done successfully too. We're not talking about one-off success. If you look for these deals, I know you can find them. But what's your experience with seller financing? How do you get out there, and how do you broach the topic, and how do you make it work?
Yeah, good question. No, you're exactly right, George. Before COVID, very taboo. No one, it was like, yeah, you definitely don't do that in multifamily, like maybe a single family home, where an older person owns it outright and might finance it, stuff like that. But you would never do that in multifamily. But the other thing too, George, like there was no reason to do it. I mean, when a bank is giving you 3.5% interest, just go take that. Like you can't do better than that, right? So everything changed when interest rates started going up. So when I'm looking at a property and the seller wants to sell it, that 64 unit and then 96 unit too, like, the 96 unit, whatever, is like $7 million. And it's like, yeah, $7 million doesn't work at 7.5% or 8% interest rate. It just, there's no way. Maybe I'll pay you $6 million, maybe 6.5. Well, but if the seller goes, okay, well, what if I have a little loan on it, and I'll keep paying on that. But if you just give me 20% down, I'll finance the other 80%, like the seller's being the bank, and I'll do it at 5%. Oh, okay. Well, 5%, that $7 million price makes sense. And that can kind of be a win-win. The seller is getting their price, but I'm just getting much better financing. And that's real money. I mean, the difference between 5% and 7% on that kind of debt. I mean, we're talking about, north of $100,000 a year. So it's like, yeah, I'm giving them a better price, but I'm saving $100,000 a year in interest, and that's just throwing money away. I mean, it's the bank's profit, but as far as my property is concerned, it's burning money. So that's a big deal to get better financing. So, these sellers actually, Georgia, wasn't something we had to even like sell them on. They already kind of knew. And when the broker came to us, these were kind of off-market, pre-market type deals. And they came and said, hey, here's what the seller's looking for, but they would consider seller financing. So some people don't want to do that. And for us, it was like, well, hey, to me, like this is the time to get creative. It's not, I don't want to just go compete with everybody else and try to be the highest offer on these properties, which it seems like that's how it's been since almost, late 2020. It's just a bidding war that I don't really want to be a part of. And some of these were like, okay, this is, kind of off market, pre-market, the bigger buyers aren't in here, maybe some of the more sophisticated, they don't want to do seller financing, it's just messy, weird. It's not, doesn't fit in the normal box. And so we decided to wade into that area. And, we're over a year in on one of those, coming up on a year in on the other one. And they've been great. I mean, we pay them just like we pay the bank, 5% interest. We did interest only. And it's great debt, only 20% down. I think we did 15% down on one. So you're getting in great too, not having to raise as much capital and dilute your investors. So a lot of wins for us. And again, we were able to pay the sellers a good price because they offered us that financing. So everybody wins except the bank. And that's great for me. I like that.
Yeah, I guess I could deal with them losing a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
They seem like they're doing all right.
Yeah.
But I'll give you my experience with seller financing. I mean, I was doing seller financing before it was cool. Even back in 2020, that was when I did my first big seller financing deal. And you make a great point about back when interest rates were low. It didn't make as much sense as it does now. I mean, now sometimes it's the only way you can get the deal done, as you pointed out.
Yeah.
But way back then, I mean, you can get sometimes a longer term, like 7 years, I've seen. Even on my own deal, seven years, or here one in 2021 towards the end when rates had already started to shoot up, we got 3.5%. So we were able to get even when rates were quite low, below market interest rates, longer terms.
Yep.
And then they don't bug you if you kick everybody out and do your renovations quickly. That's good because not having to deal with the DSCR and all that. I mean, your seller is just going to be a whole lot less sophisticated when it comes to finance. I mean, no surprise, they're not a bank. So you can often come up with some terms that are very mutually agreeable. And I think it's a huge win-win. So partial seller financing is another great thing. You might be able to get a second mortgage like that makes the deal work. Another thing that I've seen, but I haven't actually done personally, is giving your down payment in phases. You might be able to negotiate 6 months, we'll give you the second half of your down payment. And, if you got a raise, for example, and maybe you got enough for your CapEx budget, so you know that you're covered, you're not going to lose the property in 6 months. And then you can just backfill. And as you're backfilling, then you can release money to hopefully as quickly as you're doing your renovations. But just an amazing topic. And I love the way you're getting at the history of it, because it is definitely something evolving. And I would recommend to everybody. I mean, if you have not tried seller financing, try it. Don't be afraid to broach the topic. Particularly good if you have a good, like I said, if you got a track record or if you have a good reputation with a broker. And what I find too is that a lot of brokers, they don't seem to understand how the deals really work or how they're financed. Some of them, I'm not talking about the top brokers, but you'll see a property that's in rough shape. And, I've explained to brokers before, like, well, hey, now if we got to get an 11% loan on this because we need a bridge debt, these numbers just don't make sense. However, if you want to loan to us at, 4 or 5, or who knows, even 6%, maybe we can get this deal done. And look at what we're going to do. Well, we're going to put in $250,000 or $500,000 or $1 million of renovations. Collateral is going to increase in value. Worst case scenario is you get a better property back. And a lot of times I find that the brokers, either they're not too in tune with how it's going, or they're playing the rube, so to speak. They're just putting the property out there and letting the market tell the seller that you're out of your gourd. It's like, third time this week, somebody said we might be able to do it with seller financing, and then the seller will eventually start listening.
No, I've seen that.
All right, good. Well, I think we got to talk about some fun stuff because, as I mentioned to my group here, love my dedicated listeners. By the way, thank you so much. If you've been listening to this show regularly, or if it's your first time and you find some value, please make sure that you go and leave a review. That really helps us continue to make awesome material and continue to do that. But I've been talking a lot about passionate living. That's going to be the title of my debut book in real estate, Passionate Living Through Passive Investing. I just love people who are willing to go sort of off the beaten path and, truly enjoy life. So in your bio, you mentioned you're currently living in Ohio with your 2 children and many farm animals. And I guess I'll just frame it like this. I just think there's just so much joy in the world if you're willing to kind of get out of the rat race and go after experiences rather than stuff. So can you tell us a little bit about your farm animals?
Yeah, sure. So I grew up on a farm. My wife did not, but she is a farm girl at heart, and she really drives this. She's all about having animals. So we just have 4.5 acres. So not a lot, but we're surrounded by everybody around us has 5 to 50 acres, and so everybody's spread out. And so we're just barely outside of town in the country here in Ohio. And so we have, I guess right now we have 10 chickens. Although we've got 12 eggs that we've got in an incubator. So we could have 12 chicks in the next about a week and a half. And then we've got 3 little pigs, little mini pigs that have a little barn and pen of their own. We've got 1 cat that runs around outside. So these are all outdoor animals. We don't bring our pigs inside or anything. But our kids take care of them. So every morning and every evening, our kids have to go out and do chores. And so my wife and I really like that for them, just the responsibility and work ethic that comes with that. And they're fun to have. I mean, we let our chickens are out running around during the day, and it does add a lot of joy. I mean, my wife and kids get a ton of joy from it. I do too. I'm honestly not as involved in it just because I'm I guess working more, and during the day they're out there a lot with them and doing different things. But it's a great life. I think it's a great way to live. It's how I grew up, but I love having animals around and having animals to take care of. And it's just different, it's just kind of a weird example, but like when it snows a lot here in Ohio, I mean, there's just certain things we have to think about with our animals. Like, okay, what are we going to do? And it's fun to take that on as a family. Our kids may not enjoy it sometimes, but then like later they talk about it like it was kind of a cool experience that we had to go out there and do this for the pigs. And just think about them again. It's that responsibility piece. Like, man, I'm responsible for these animals, and we've got to make sure they can bear the cold and all that's coming toward them. And it's cool to watch, and it's been a really fun experience. So and just to wrap it all up, I mean, the life we lead with real estate, we have a ton of flexibility to be home and do things a little bit differently. And for me to be home with the kids and do that kind of stuff, it lends itself to being able to do that. I mean, but anybody could probably have the animals that we have, just need a little bit of land. So I appreciate you bringing that up. It's definitely something that does add to our life, and it's passionate living for us that we get investing.
Well, I love it because everybody that I've heard of moving out to the country just loves it. And what an experience. Yeah. I mean, my father, he grew up on a farm, went into finance, but he always had large properties. And I guess you could call it his garden, but it was very ambitious. He'd plow his garden with a tractor. So it gives you some idea where he's coming from. All right. Also, you mentioned that you're rooting for the Buckeyes and the Bengals, but what about the Browns? Now, I'm a Lions fan, and I got to tell you, you just got to have some faith. So not a Cleveland Brown fan. I mean, look, Lions were in the championship game last year. No,
I know. Great season, but Lions were fun to cheer for. I went to college in Cleveland, so I did kind of root for the Browns while I was up there. I root against the Browns now. I am not a fan of that team. There's a few guys on the defense I like. I'm just not a fan of many of their players, so I enjoy rooting against the Browns, rooting for the Bengals. I'm more of a college football fan, so I really enjoy rooting for the Buckeyes. I hate Michigan. I can't believe we've lost three times in a row.
I'm from Michigan. He's giving me a hard time here.
Yes. I cannot believe we've lost to Michigan 3 times in a row now. That was this year. Football is a lot of fun.
All right, good. Okay. Well, one of the things this podcast is about is networking and making sure people are actually reaching out to the people they're looking for So I love it. I mean, it's easy with you because you put it right in your bio that you're looking forward to establishing new relationships with top-notch professionals in the real estate world and bringing on more partners. So it looks like you've got some expansion planned there for Threefold.
Yeah.
And great to hear that. So yeah, just hope people are reaching out on the basis of what people are looking for. That's a common question that I like to ask towards the end is like, who are you reaching out to? Can you contribute to? Who are you looking to have contribute to you? So definitely hope this podcast is valuable in terms of finding new active partners. All right. Well, anyway, I think we should probably wrap it up, Lee. I have a series of sort of whimsical questions, and then I have our lightning round. So just to get to know you a little bit better, a couple quick hits here. So what's your favorite junk food?
Oh man, chocolate. I mean, anything chocolate for me. And you know what? I'll go this far. I like the dough. So like cookie dough, cake batter, brownie batter, those. Yeah, anything with raw egg, I think, is what I like.
All right, good, love it. Yeah, it brings back great memories of licking the bowl when I was a kid.
I know. I'm still doing that a lot. Yeah.
Love it. I've got a son who loves to bake. So yeah, we got bakers in the family.
Yeah.
He's at least a second generation baker. All right. So so you're headed to a deserted island. The island's very modern, however. It's outfitted with a great sound system. So bring only one album with you. What would it be?
Oh man. I like kind of like indie folk music. I'll take the Mumford and Sons.
All right.
Yep.
All right. Good. And then if you could jump into a pool of anything, what would it be full of?
Oh man. Gosh. I'll go with what I just said. It'd be cake batter.
I love it. I love the theme. All right, too good. Okay, so now we have to kick it into high gear. Time to ask you my favorite 7 questions, better known as our lightning round, the 7. All right, Lee, if you could be known for only one thing, what would it be?
We're Christ followers. I think that's the most important thing. So it would be that I glorified God, that I loved God and loved people.
Beautiful. What's the greatest lesson in leadership you've learned as an entrepreneur?
I think what I'm really working on this a lot to try to be a better CEO now that we kind of have a business, we have employees, and I think it's just that people want to be seen. They want to feel like they're part of something. So that's what I'm trying to lean into with our employees.
What personal characteristic has been most pivotal to your success?
Oh man. Probably being able to step into the unknown and take risks. I think if you're going to start something, if you're going to be an entrepreneur and start a business, you got to do that. At some point, you got to kind of jump without knowing where you're going to land or if you're going to land.
Classic entrepreneurship. Yeah. Some the sort of things you can't train for. You either have that entrepreneurial spirit or not. Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. So here's our random question of the day.
Oh,
just tell me
wow.
when to stop cutting.
Yep.
All right, stop.
What'd you say? Stop. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right. Have you ever, oh gosh, I can't ask that one again. We asked that one on the air. Have you ever had an experience that led you to believe in ghosts? All right. I have another one we've already asked. Okay. Oh, here's a good one. Never asked this one before. What do you admire most about your parents?
Oh man. Yeah. I admire my parents a lot. They've stayed together. They've been married over 40 years now. I think it was 41 just the other day. And I just admire that, they put a lot aside for us kids. I have 3 sisters and, they really worked hard and, looking back, there's times it's like, man, they were just living for us, not themselves. So I really admire that about them.
Beautiful. Can you give us a tip or trick that investors can implement in their business today?
Yeah, man, tip or trick. Man, my tip would just be network. I guess that'd be the first, just network. I mean, go out and talk with people, listen to podcasts like this one, learn from other people. There's people that are doing exactly what you want to do, and they're out there telling you how they did it or whatever. Like, just, man, learn from them.
Yeah, I love it. This is gold. Yeah, a smart man learns from his mistakes. A wise man learns from the mistakes of others.
Yeah.
So, can you name a book that's helped to forge you as a leader, entrepreneur, or investor, and tell us why?
Oh man, so many books. I love reading. I mean, I listen. I don't actually read. I listen to the audiobook, but love listen to books. Simon Sinek, what was the book because like I said, I've really been trying to, I'm pulling up my Audible app. I've got to remind myself. But I read one of his books recently, and it was really good on leadership. Why won't it go to my library? Go to my library. Where Who Not How. Oh, there, that's a good one too. Good to Great by Jim Collins. I'll just say that one. That is awesome. I love that book, Good to Great. That's one of my favorite books about business and building business.
Beautiful, love it. I mean, I think maybe I should show my app too. That should be a good question for the future. Okay, I don't think it's quite clear enough to read, but I'll show you the last few books I've read: Seven Generation Legacy, Rachel Marshall, The Man Who Sold the Market, about quant Jim Simons, and then a couple here I've gotten but haven't listened to yet: Ultimate Stoicism Collection, and then Higher, which chronicles basically the race to the sky in the 1920s.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, that was huge. I mean, we had a booming economy and some crazy shock statistic. I feel like half of the skyscrapers in New York were erected in the 1920s, Empire State Building, for example. But whatever the true figure is, like 50.3% of statistics made up on the spot. It's a lot. The 1920s were huge for construction. And then, the next one really great too, Against the Gods, Peter L. Bernstein, the story of risk, the modern idea that that we can bring risk under control. So seems kind of obvious now, but kind of crazy to think that, things like insurance and life insurance particularly took a long time. Anyway, sorry, I'm editorializing. What happened to my lightning round here, Lee? Let's see if we can get this back on track. Can you send us out with a quote to help forge our listeners as leaders and entrepreneurs?
Oh man, yeah, great question. You know what? I like the quote. Well, one, and it's too long for me to quote, but the man in the arena. Do you know that one? I think it was Roosevelt. Just talks about
Theodore Roosevelt.
Yeah. Just it's so easy to sit back and be the Monday morning quarterback and talk about would have done this, he could have done that, he should have done this. You get no glory from that, and you don't gain from that. It might make you feel good, but it's the men and the women that actually go into the arena and make those mistakes that are gonna they're gonna find success and glory and whatever you're looking for, and you're gonna fail and fall down, but you're in the game, and so Roosevelt says like they're the ones that should be applauded, and I agree with that, and I was gonna throw out a Bible verse and just one wasn't coming to mind with exactly what I was wanting to say, but the Bible talks about things like that as well. But yeah, I love that quote, "The Man in the Arena" by Roosevelt.
Yeah, it's not the critic who counts.
Yes.
Not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who was actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes up short again and again. Yeah, love it. That's beautiful. Do we have any presidential candidates who could have written something like that today? Probably not, but actually, tell you the truth though, he spoke like 7 languages. I mean, this guy.
Did he really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, of course he was Dutch, not first generation, but kept that going in the family, and total intellectual. I don't know why doesn't politics draw that sort of intellectual today? One can only speculate. But one thing for which we need no speculation for is that we are coming to the top of the hour, and I got to let you go, Lee. This has been literally amazing. I want to thank you so much for taking your time to share your knowledge and experience with our audience, and just want to make sure that audience does have an opportunity to reach out to you, particularly, if they're the sort of person who might become, future partner with you. So email, website, carrier pigeon, or smoke signals. What is the best way to reach out to Lee Yoder?
You can definitely find me on LinkedIn. I'm active on LinkedIn. So if you just look up Lee Yoder on LinkedIn, and then jump on our website, Threefold Rei, that's 3 spelled out THREE, and then FOLD REI as in realestateinvesting.com. We've got a free ebook there. We've got a bunch of educational videos, a bunch of stuff and then you can connect with us through the website. So jump on the website.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thanks, George.